Hey everyone, we are back with our weekly speaker session. So I hope you are all enjoying this weekend. So before moving forward, I just want to know, are you all excited about today's session? So let us know by commenting in the chat section. Yeah. So before moving forward, I just introduce myself and little bit about DSC. So I'm Summer, your DSC PGDAV community lead, and DSC PGDAV is a community of developers, innovators, creators, designers who grow their knowledge in a peer-to-peer learning environment and build solutions for local business and communities. So and one more thing, that solution challenge is starting now. So join us in solving the United Nation uh, development goals and stand a chance to win some exciting prizes. Okay, so the info session will be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Yeah. So today's session is all about modern Android development. So without any further delay, let me call our speaker, Mr. Sagar Viradiya. He is a lead Android engineer at BookMyShow and co-organizer of GDG Mad Mumbai. So let me invite. So hi Sagar, welcome to the DSC PGDAV platform. Yeah.
Hey, hi. Thanks for having me.
So all the viewers, if you have any doubt, you can ask it in our comment section, so we will take all your questions towards the end. So yeah, Saga, you can continue with the presentation.
Sure. Before I start, just quick test. Can you see me clear and can you hear me clear, loud?
Yeah, your voice and your PDF is on the screen. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Hi, guys. Uh, Welcome to today's session on modern Android development. I really appreciate you taking time out, and Sunday evening you could have done something else, but you chose to come here and attend this talk. So thank you so much. I'll be speaking on modern Android development. There are already talks out there on this topic, uh, but those ones are like really complex and a lot of things. So I thought I should give my take on this. This is a bit simplified version of that. So hopefully at the end of this talk you will be able to learn all the latest things out there in Android world right now. Before I proceed, let me just give you a little bit intro about myself. My name is Sagar Viradiya. I am an Android engineer at BookMyShow, and most of you guys know what we do. But in case if you are not aware, we are India's largest ticketing platform for entertainment, and also I'm a part of GDG Mag. We are GDG community based here in Mumbai, and you can follow us on gdgmad.com and at the rate GGGMad, our Twitter handle. So without further ado, let's get started. So what does modern Android development look like? So it's a tools, APIs, language, distribution technologies that are recommended, which will help you to be productive and create, apps that can run on billions of devices out there. So essentially, it's based on these four pillars: language, tools, API, and distribution. And these pillars are like on top of Foundation, which is your platform itself, the Android platform, and the Play Store where you deploy your app. So you still need Foundation, you still need framework, and on top of that, the language, tools, APIs, and distribution, which will allow you to create scalable application. So to start off, let's just talk about language first. The Kotlin. Uh, Kotlin is the recommended language for Android development and widely adopted in the Android community. And Google is also investing heavily on Kotlin. So Kotlin is the future for Android. So why Kotlin? Kotlin is another JVM based language, and it is expressive, it is safe, it is interoperable with Java, and it has a concept called structured concurrency, which will allow you to write asynchronous code in a sequential manner, and it will help you to deal with concurrency easily. So let's talk about expressiveness of Kotlin. So the fact that you will be writing less code leads to less bugs in your code base. So less boilerplate, it's clean and it's easy to understand. It's concise, so within few statement you can express yourself. So like you don't have to write a lot of boilerplate. Within few lines you can express yourself, and it has bunch of features which will make it expressive. So let's see them one by one. But before that, I want to give you one example, like why Kotlin is expressive, what makes it expressive. So this is the example of Jetpack Compose. Jetpack Compose is nothing but the latest UI toolkit, which will allow you to write your UI in a declarative manner. So compared to the traditional approach wherein you write your UI in XML, you can express your layout using Kotlin. Uh, and As you can see, the highlighted code snippet, you can easily figure out like what you are doing. You are rendering text on screen, and these kind of stuff is only possible through the language feature that Kotlin offers. And this is sort of you know uh, your own DSL, domain specific language, and you can build that. Uh, and Kotlin has a bunch of features which will allow you to write your own DSL. So let's see them one by one. So the my favorite feature of Kotlin is extension function. So if you have, let's say, a calculator class and it has two functions within, add and multiply, and this is something that you don't control. And if you want to extend the functionality of this class, so if you want to add a, let's say, subtract function, you can easily do so using extension function. So this is how you declare extension function on top of calculator. So function and the calculator class name dot your function name, and you can declare your function. And this you'll be calling as if subtract is already part of calculator class. So you'll be creating the object and you'll be calling subtract function as if it is already there. Another great function is a higher order function. So Kotlin treats functional programming as a first class citizen. So it supports, you can pass function to another function. So in this case, calculate function is accepting math function, and it is taking two integer and it's simply invoking that function and returning, the integer. So this is how you declare, uh, uh, function. This is how you accept function within function. So the parameter name and then the function signature. So two integer and it is returning, another integer. And this is how you can call, if the last parameter of your function is accepting another function, you can skip and you can declare outside the parentheses. So this is known as trailing lambda, and this is easy and concise and easy to read, and you can clearly tell what is happening here. So the first one is adding two numbers, and the second one is multiplying two numbers. Another great feature is lambda with receiver. So lambda with receiver is nothing but the extension function, uh, uh, which is basically the function which is accepting another function, but that function is extension on top of something. So to give you an example, let's say if you want to store something in the shared preference. So shared preference is nothing but key value store on Android, and you can store all the primitive values. And this is how you can achieve. So you call the edit call method on the shared preference to return editor, and then you can call put boolean, put string, put int, whatever you want, and then you call apply function. But this we can make more concise and more clear using lambda with receiver. So you can define extension on top of shared preference, and which will take a lambda with receiver, in this case action, and which is taking another function, which is nothing but a editor, the extension on top of share preference dot editor. And what this function essentially is doing is like it is doing a lot of heavy lifting for you. So you don't have to worry about calling share preference dot edit and then putting value inside. So it internally it creates the editor for you, and it will call the lambda that you're passing. Since it's a extension on top of editor, it can directly use the editor that this function is creating, and it can call the lambda that you're passing. And this is how you can make this better. So this is clear and concise. So you are just calling share preference dot edit, and then you are only concerned about your uh, uh, business logic. So in this case, you are just putting booleans, and you can put string or you can put integer as well. Kotlin is safe. So for each type, there's an equivalent, nullable type. So integer is a non-null type, and the integer question mark is a nullable type. And compiler will force you to, check for the possible null value if you're consuming nullable type anywhere in your code. So by this, you will get a null safety. And other data type also has equivalent, nullable type. And if you have your own custom object, you can specify whether it's nullable or non-nullable. Coroutines are one of the great feature of this language, and this makes asynchronous programming really super, simple. So, and most of the time on Android, you will be dealing with asynchronous programming, wherein if you want to offload something from main thread, and if you want to execute something, let's say database or network call on different thread, IO thread, uh, you can easily do that using coroutines. Uh, and it has a concept of structured concurrency, wherein each concurrent task has a, the parent, and there's a parent-child relationship between all the concurrent tasks running. And if you cancel the parent task, all its children will automatically get cancelled. So this is super handy to achieve, concurrency. And to give you an example of asynchronous programming, how coroutines, makes it very simple. So let's say if you want to display a list of tweets, right? If you follow the traditional approach of callback, let's say before getting the tweets, you need a token. So if you follow the callback approach, you would be declaring two function get token and passing the callback within. And this function will return immediately without blocking your main thread. And once the token is ready, it will simply invoke the callback that you are passing. And same thing with get tweets. It is accepting token and another callback, and it will use that token to get the list of tweets. And once tweets are ready, it will invoke, this callback. And this is how you can call consume that two function that we saw. So display tweets, get token, you pass in the callback. Again, you call once you get the callback, you use that token to get the tweets, and you again pass in the callback. So this is like very simple example, but things will become complex when you uh, add more functionality to this. So let's say if you want to process tweets after getting the tweets list of tweets, this will become like really difficult to understand and manage. So if you compare this with coroutines, like this is how you write the same exact thing in the coroutine in a sequential manner, but still this is asynchronous in nature. So the way it works is like all the functions that you see here, the get token, get tweets, and process tweets, are suspending functions. So the suspending function will suspend the execution of your coroutine. So uh, when you execute get token, this whole function will get suspended. So display tweets will get suspended. And once the result is ready, it will pass on that result to the next line, and get tweets will use that result and get the tweets. Again, this is also a suspending function. So there's a suspension point here. It will suspend the execution of display tweets, and same with process tweets. So this is like how you like normally write your code, right? In a sequential manner, but still it's asynchronous in nature. So Kotlin coroutines makes asynchronous programming really simple. Uh, so these are like a few of the reasons why like Kotlin is a great language when it comes to Android development. Um, Now let's just look into like what all Google initiative are there like to make this language uh, you know even better. So there's a better lint support. Lint is nothing but static analysis tool which will allow you to you know which will allow you to you know detect all the bad practices that you are doing. So if you are not following the good practices, it will just simply warn you. There's a dedicated compiler team, and like recently R8 came, and R8 is nothing but a replacement for ProGuard, which will also optimize your bytecode. So uh, once your app gets converted to bytecode, it will optimize so that it can run effectively. And there's a new Kotlin annotation processor called Kotlin symbol processor, which is faster than kept. Also, they are annotating all the platform API so that it will be Kotlin friendly, and you will get the all the null safety through annotation on the Java API. And to make Kotlin developers' life easy, of course, all the platform APIs are in Java, and they can't rewrite the entire platform. But to make it more Kotlin friendly, there's a Kotlin extension on top of Java API, which will be Kotlin friendly. Coming to the second pillar, the Android Studio, ultimate ID for Android development, and it is getting better and better with the support of all the new APIs and all the profilers and all the other tools, things like APK Analyzer, which will allow you to analyze your APK. You can even compare your previous APK to monitor like what's going on. So there are a bunch of things, but today I'll be discussing two things: Layout Inspector, which is kind of which was there, but this is sort of enhanced version of Layout Inspector, and the Room Database Inspector. So Layout Inspector will allow you to visualize your layout hierarchy. So the way you invoke that is go to the View, Tools, Windows, and just select the Layout Inspector, and open the window for Layout Inspector. And then you have to run your app and attach your process. Once you do that, it will show you the current screen that is running on your device and or emulator, whatever. And you can have a nice 3D look of your view by layers, and you can visualize your layout hierarchy easily. Also, if you want to focus on a particular thing, let's say if you want to focus on a particular view group, in this case toolbar, you can select right click and select show only subtree, and it will show you only like that view group and its child. Also, if you want to focus on the parents of all parents of particular view, you can select that right click and select show only parents, and it'll show you the hierarchy of the parents of a particular view. Also super handy if you want to know all the attributes of a particular view. So just click on that attribute, and on right hand side in the property panel you'll be able to see all the declared attribute and also inherited attributes from the parent. And if you want to know like where this is being declared right now, you can just click on the XML. Click on the link as you can see, and you can open XML directly. So this is super handy if you don't know the XML, like where this is currently in your code base. Just click on the any property and you can open the XML. Coming to database inspector, this is also a super handy tool if you want to, debug your app and if you have database in your app. So the way you open this window is there's a small tab at the bottom of Android Studio, and once you click on that, you need to select your process, uh, and it will show you all the database that are there in your process. You need to select the database, and once you select database, it will show you all the tables within. So in this case, so this is the example of Sunflower app, uh, which is already there in the Android code lab, so you can check right now. Uh, you can select any database, and you can select the table, and you can visualize the content within table. Also, one super cool thing about this is so if you have like a DAO class, so DAO is nothing but a interface which will allow you to query your database. And if you wrote something, and if you want to quickly verify like my query is right or not, you can on the left hand side, as you can see, there's a run green small button, run button. You can click on that and you can execute that query and see your result, just to verify like your query is right or wrong. If you want to also let's say quickly test the custom query, uh, which is not there in DAO class, but you just want to test it. You can click on the Run SQL button, and you can select the database and you can type in the query, and it will show you the result once you click on the Run button. Also, you can get the real-time update of your database. So both ways, if you modify something in your database, it will reflect in your app. So in this case, we are just quickly testing, like specifying the long name. Will it fit in the UI or not? So you can do that, and it will immediately reflect on your screen. Provided if you are observing the database through live data, or maybe through some other mechanism like Kotlin flow. Also, you can get the live updates in your database. So if your app is updating the database, and if you want to monitor that, you can do that within Android Studio. So you just have to check the live update checkbox, and it will start showing you all live updates of your database. So in this case, you are just adding one plant to your garden, and it will reflect in your database. Coming to API part, so Jetpack API came into the picture wherein like a lot of platform stuff was difficult. So things like life cycle was really hard. So what Google decided, like, to give uh, a library on top of lifecycle to make our life easy. So it's unbundled suite of libraries which will make you more productive, and make you uh, write app which would be bug free. So basically it will reduce your efforts. Um, So let's see them one by one. Jetpack has a bunch of libraries. So the very first thing that came in was constantly out. Constantly out is relatively out plus plus. So you can define the complex layout uh, with flat UI hierarchy, which would be more efficient. So it's a recommended way to write your UI. Then architecture component came in. It has a lifecycle component which will allow you to observe lifecycle, and view model. Uh, we'll see that in upcoming slides. Live data, which is nothing but uh, live data will encapsulate the data, and you can observe that in your activity or fragment. And the room, which is wrapper over SQLite database. which makes database implementation super simple. Um, Material Design Component (MDC) is another design library which will allow you to uh, do a bunch of things. So you can use inbuilt styles and themes, and you can use inbuilt components as well, which are not part of framework. So things like bottom bar or bottom navigation bar or calendar view, like these all are part of this library. Work Manager is another great library. So if you want to, let's say, periodically sync your data, or in general, if you want to achieve something which is guaranteed to be executed, but you don't need immediately, you can use Work Manager, and you can mix and match. You can define your own constraint uh, on the task that you define. So let's say if you want to run something on unmetered network, let's say Wi-Fi, and if your device is only charging, then only you want to run. So things like this, you can mix and match your constraint, and you can run a work manager can later figure out when to run your task. Camera X is another great library. Uh, so if you want to achieve something like if you want to show live feed of your camera, you can use Camera X. Or also, if your app needs uh, functionality wherein user can quickly open camera and capture image, you can use Camera X, and it will do a lot of heavy lifting for you. So it will take care of all the OEMs, different OEMs, like camera, uh, the implementation, the different hardware implementation. So it'll hide a lot of boilerplate for you and take care of that thing, and you can easily capture images using this library. Also, if you want to do something like, let's say, if you want to do some machine learning on top of the camera frames that you're capturing, you can combine Camera X with MLKit, and you can do image analysis. And Jetpack Compose, I think everyone is talking about Jetpack Compose. It's a declarative UI toolkit. It's not stable yet, but I think this is big move towards the Android UI toolkit, and hopefully this will simplify our life. So yeah, I think this will be a really huge change. And there are many more APIs. Unfortunately, I won't be able to cover all of them, but let's just talk about constraint layout and architecture components. So constraint layout, as I already mentioned, it's a relative layout plus plus, wherein things are relative to each other. So in this case, the text view, which is at the bottom, is relative to the text view at the top, and things are related to container itself. So you can define the constraint, uh, and you can create complex, layout using constraint layout. Also, it has a bunch of other features like guidelines. Guidelines is something that is invisible view, and you can align your UI components to guidelines. So yeah, I mean, this is like, you can have a separate talk on constraint layout. It's really powerful. Motion layout is a subset of constraint layout, and it will allow you to achieve transition animation very easily. So you define the start and the end state and your path, and you can run the animation. It will do heavy lifting for you. It will create animation for you. You don't have to write anything. So this is also super cool. Coming to architectural component, life cycle was really hard before architectural component came. So this is the diagram for the life cycle of activity, and the activity could be in one of this state. And if you want to, let's say, initialize something before your activity is visible to user, or if you want to terminate something before your activity gets destroyed, this was really hard. Like, this is how you would do without architecture component. So you would override, uh, you know, all the methods, and you write code within. And this is not clean in the sense like you will be polluting your activity and fragment, and things will be complex and difficult to understand. The new approach is to use lifecycle observer. So lifecycle observer is uh, nothing but something that can observe the life cycle of lifecycle owner. So in this case, my activity, your activity is lifecycle owner, and you can create the observer by passing the lifecycle, and you can attach observer to the lifecycle. And basically, you can offload whatever you are doing in this all this overridden method to a dedicated class, and things will be simpler. And this is much cleaner compared to traditional approach. So you can use the annotation on lifecycle event, and whatever lifecycle you want to observe, whatever state you want to observe, you can pass in that, and that function will get invoked once activity will be in that lifecycle state. View model is the class which encapsulates your data for screen. So before, architecture component developer used to follow, the architecture wherein there's a dedicated class which will handle data loading and which will encapsulate data for your screen. But we have a dedicated class for that now, which is ViewModel. The special This is special in the sense it can survive configuration changes. So if you imagine, if you are doing some heavy network call, and for some reason your activity gets recreated, it can survive that recreation, and behind the scene it will continue downloading, it will continue getting your data, so that you won't be canceling that and creating that request again. So this is super handy, and this is sort of the middle layer between your data and UI. Live data works best with view model. It's nothing but lifecycle observer. So it can observe the lifecycle of activity of fragment. And once that activity is in the active state, then only it will fire, the data that it is holding currently. So it can encapsulate your data that can be observed through your lifecycle owner activity and fragment. Room, I already mentioned, like it's a wrapper over SQLite. Uh, and prior to Room, it was really difficult to implement database uh, on Android. Uh, you had you had to do a lot of ceremony, like setting up your database and then making sure you're terminating connection and everything. So that was really difficult. But now this is like super simple. You just need three things: your database class, your entity, and your DAO, which is your database data access object. So it makes your DB implementation super simple, and it has also support for coroutines. So prior to this, like if you want to call a database function, you have to make sure you're switching thread. You're not calling database functions uh, on the main thread, because it would block your main thread and it will simply throw exception. But coroutines, like you can have a suspending function within your DAO, and it will take care of switching thread internally, and it can handle that thing. So you don't have to do anything as long as you are using coroutines in your code base. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to switch thread. So this is how you can declare table. So you annotate your class with entity annotation, and uh, there are a bunch of other annotation as well. Primary key, if you want to declare primary key, you can use @primary key, and you can even have the custom column name. So in this case, if you don't specify anything, it will just simply take you whatever your data member name is there. So dog owner ID is your column name, but you can customize that as well. uh, DAO is, as I mentioned, it's an interface between your database and your app. So you can write a query. Uh, you can use the annotation at the rate query, and you can pass in the query. And notice, like, this is how you naturally write your SQL query, right? And this will also give you like you know uh, compile time safety, in the sense that if you're doing something, if you're writing query which is wrong, it will give you compilation error, so you have to fix that. And coroutine support is there through suspending function. So uh, the first and the last function both are suspending function. So you can call this function without worrying about switching thread, and internally you switch to IO thread. Last thing I want to talk about is Android app bundles, which is new distribution format for Android. Prior to app bundle, APK was the format, and before I dive into the app bundle, why Google came up with this new format. Let's just address few problems with APKs. So, according to Google's internal data, 3 in 10 phones have less than 1 GB of internal free space, and naturally, like, if you run out of space, you would be uninstalling app which takes more memory in your device, right? So it's kind of obvious, like, chances of your app getting uninstalled would be higher if your app size is larger. So this was one of the problem. Also, install success rate is also goes down as your size increases. So if you have a larger APK, the chances of failure while installing app would be higher. There could be number of reasons. There could be network failure. There could be, like, a user can run out of space. So that is also one thing that we need to keep in mind. Also, another internal Google analysis tells that if you reduce your app size by 3 MB, you would increase chances of your app getting installed by 1%. So this kind of, like, makes sense to reduce your app size, and that is why, like, app bundle came into the picture. Uh, so if you compare with traditional APK approach, so if you ship your APK, and let's say you have bunch of native libraries that is based on your CPU architecture, and bunch of resources for all kind of screen density, and all the language that you're supporting. If user install your app through traditional approach, which is APK, that user will get everything. So if user is running on, let's say, x86 base processor, and that device is the medium density device, uh, he or she will also get all the other resources for the other screen densities and other native libraries targeted for other, you know, CPU architecture, versus app bundle on the right hand side. So if you're running on, let's say, ARM64, and your device is MDPI, and the currently user has selected the French language. So what it will do, when user installs your app, on the fly it will generate, and it will determine, okay, this is ARM64 device, and this is double X STPI device, and the language selected is French. So it will, on the fly, it will generate the APK for you, uh, and it will only ship only things that are required on your device, rather than shipping everything. So this way you can reduce your memory footprint. And at BookMyShow, we have observed, so once we migrated to app bundle, we observed, like, we went down from 26 MB to 21 MB. So this is roughly 20% download size saving compared to monolithic APK. So yeah, I think app bundles are the uh, app bundle is really a great tool if you want to reduce your app size. And by the mid of 2021, it will be compulsion to update. If you're uploading APK, Play Store won't allow you to do that. You have to move to app bundles. So to kind of summarize this talk, so modern Android development is based on four pillars: language, tools, APIs, and distribution. On the language side, we have Kotlin, which is rapidly evolving language, widely adopted in the Android community, and which will make you productive and write, bug-free app. Tools, we have Ultimate Tool for Android development, Android Studio, rapidly evolving, lot of API supports, new API support, and bunch of other things. On API front, we have constant layout, architecture component, and other APIs which will make your life easier. And distribution, lastly, we have Android App Bundle, which is a new format which will reduce your app size. So these are the resources that I've referred. You can, if you want the detailed version of this talk, uh, you can head over to one of the DroidCon video by Chet and Romain, and they talked about in detail like the same version of this talk but in detail. Also, a bunch of other Medium posts that will help you. There's a MAD series uh, which is currently ongoing thing, uh, which will teach you about all the latest and greatest stuff in Android. So you can follow the YouTube videos on MAD series and articles on Medium. With that, uh, that was all about modern Android development. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm open to question if you have any.
Thank you, Sagar, for this amazing session. Yeah, we have some couple of questions, so let's get started with our question part. So there is a
Sure.
question, Gitanjali. I just want to know what are coroutines and what is the use of it.
So coroutines is the new way to write asynchronous code. So coroutines is nothing but you know a part of Kotlin language wherein you can deal with threads. You don't have to like as I already mentioned, like the traditional approach is callback based, wherein you pass in a bunch of callbacks and things are not scalable. But coroutines will allow you to do that, and lot of the time you'll be dealing with asynchronous code. So that thing is super
Nice.
simple with coroutines.
That's great. So
All
now
right.
moving to our second question. It's from Coding Cosmos. He said ki I am in the second year learning Android from around 10 months, but now I am afraid of Fuchsia operating system that it will become after some years and will replace Android. So am I wrong or should I start web or Flutter?
Well, as far as I know, like Fuchsia OS, I mean, I've heard rumors, but I'm not sure, and I don't think so. Like, you should be afraid of this. You can straight away start with whatever you are interested in. I think Android is not going anywhere. So, uh, as far as I know, like Fuchsia OS is not
I
a
think there is a
thing
huge
in at least.
developer user.
Sorry, sorry, you were saying something.
One more question from, yeah. There's one more question from Gajanand. He just want to know any Kotlin series for learning.
Oh,
Would you like?
before I answer, then let me just quickly turn on my lights. Sorry for this. I'm not visible at all. Cool. Any Kotlin series for learning? You can follow the Code Labs, Google Code Labs. I would recommend that. Uh, And if you are a video person, then I would suggest you to follow all the Math series that I talked about. It's not entirely Kotlin based, but few section will cover the language, so you can refer Math series as well. But apart from that, I am not aware about any video courses for Kotlin.
There's a last question from Gitanjali. He just want to know. She just want to know कि I am a beginner, so can you suggest any roadmap to become an Android developer?
Uh, I would say start with the basics. So you can visit developers.android.com and start with basics. Start exploring stuff. There are a bunch of materials available out there for Android development. So like when I started like this only. I started going through the documentation, the official website, and then following the community, which will help you attending talks, reading things about Android. So there's no solid roadmap as such, but yeah, try to learn and try to build something that will give you the practical exposure of whatever you learn. So I would say, yeah, start with basics first, documentation and video courses.
Yeah. So keep learning and keep exploring the Android part.
Yeah, that's the key. Yeah, that's the key.
So I think Sagar, all the queries are resolved now, and I believe that this session will help more students to get into the Android development part. So yeah. So
Sure.
thank you so much for joining this session, and yeah, we learned a lot from
Thank
this.
you. I thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Uh, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Sagar. Yeah. Bye.
See you. Bye. Take care.
Sure. So thank you so much, guys, for joining this session and listening view this session till the end. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this with all your friends. And we are soon coming up with our another session. It's all about solution challenge info session. So we will cover all the things regarding your roadmap or timeline, so that you can know more about the solution challenge part. And I think there is no more questions. Yeah. So we are back with, and I think this session and solution challenge will be coming up within a week. So stay tuned for that part too. And don't forget to join our Discord server. We are very active on Discord, sharing our resources with on different platform on different domains. Like if you are interested in coding, or if you are interested in Android development or cloud computing, then you can post all your queries or resources. We are very active on this platform. So stay tuned and share, subscribe to our channel. Yeah. So signing off for the day. Bye, bye everyone.